Henry Algar and Ronnie Kempston start this one on the front row. Harry Chapman and Mason Hibbert go from row 2. William Wainwright rounds out the field on row 3. 5 cards. Looking forward to this one, though, because a champion is about to be decided in this one. And how are the points looking after their qualifying heats?
Provisional with a capital P, but actually a bit more than provisional with a capital P. Thank you to Ian Rogers. The virtual championship scores are up at our end. And my table works, Anthony. That's the first thing I've noticed there. The second thing we've noticed is we have a tie on points, 394 apiece for Harry Chapman and Henry Algar. Ronnie Kempson is 4 points back on 390. Mason Hibbert on 375, but my information is telling me that he's now outside. So it's between 3. It's Chapman, Algar, Kempson, 2 of them tied on points. This could go any which way in the next 15 minutes plus 1 lap.
Kempson's got an issue, though, with this because, well, he's going to need Chapman and Algar basically to, well, even if they come 4th and 5th, surely they're getting enough points to be able to...
65 points for the race win in this one, and so more crucially trying to overturn that 4-point disadvantage. If Kempson wins this race and either Chapman or Algar finish second, it will go to that driver who finishes second.
Yeah.
That's probably the most simple way of putting it for these guys. But lights on, about to go racing here in the Bambino final. Away we go for 15 minutes plus 1 lap to decide the title here at Warden Law. First final of the day, first final of the weekend for the Wera Tools British Kart Championships here at Karting North East, and it is the number 17 of Henry Algar, who's been on this crescendo of form since he won at Lark Hall. Can he win out again here and potentially take the title with it? Good start as well for Harry Chapman, up to 3rd place, and in between the two of them is Ronnie Kempson. So it's our 3 championship leaders at the front of the order. There are 3 championship protagonists, I should say, with Mason Hibbert there in 4th and William Wainwright in 5th.
I've got to say, I think the rain's falling because I'm looking out the window and there is a mist of rain in the air. Rain now falling at the circuit here at Warden Law for the first final, and it had to be the championship decider, didn't it? 15 minutes plus 1 lap this race. The longest race these drivers will have done, as down the inside, swooping into 2nd place there goes Ronnie Kempson, holding on to that 2nd place spot as he's having to defend here from Chapman, Hibbert and Wainwright, who are all right there in that rear bumper. And I've got to say, Algar is trying his best to try and break away here as we go side by side at the back of the grid now. Down in towards turn 1 they go. And this is just, well, for these drivers, a big, big challenge right now because the rain coming down, the track's going to get wetter and wetter. The only plus side that they've got is that they're on cut slicks. They don't have full wets, but they don't have slicks. So if anything, it's a little bit of a breathing spot for them.
Yeah, it's what they call an all-weather tyre, and it does the job very well for the Bambinos. Those tyres provided by Leclerc. So Henry Algar leads. What does this do championship-wise? Well, it's pretty straightforward. If Henry Algar wins this race, he wins the championship. It moves him provisionally up to 400 points. Kempson at the moment 2nd, would be 2nd in the championship as well on 395. Chapman 3rd on the road, would be 3rd in the championship on 394. But Chapman has slipped down to 4th place. That's the wrong direction for Harry Chapman. He needs to be moving up through the order. Really, for Kempson in his championship scenario, his best friend out there is Mason Hibbert, because if Mason Hibbert could get up into 2nd place, we would repeat the kind of performance that we saw back at the start of the season at Glanny Gores. Of course, Kempson win the race. That's what he needs in terms of a scenario to emerge from this race as champion.
No, exactly that. And yeah, right now it's not what he needs. So Algar leads the championship standings at the moment, like you were saying, with the 400 from Kempson and Chapman. That's the only change that there's been. There's only 1 point separating those. But right now, look how close the top 4 are in this one. They've not broken away, and I think that's quite a crucial one, isn't it? I think that, you know, Algar, who may be leading this one, is feeling like he's somewhat of a guinea pig with the conditions that he's having to deal with now, which is why it's closed in just a little bit more than what we saw earlier on.
And we have seen this across the course of the heats and the practice sessions earlier on in this weekend, that these 4 drivers do like to run together as a group. They know each other very well. They've raced against each other a lot, whether it's been a first year here in the Bambino categories or a second in the case of a few of our drivers here. However, when we have seen a bit of rain thrown in there, particularly I remember back to the qualifying session from yesterday, you can see through a few thrills and spills as down the inside goes Kempson. Now that's an interesting move. Henry Algar went for the wide wet line outside there, left the lane open and probably a few more lanes for Ronnie Kempson to go down the inside, take the lead of the race. So there is a good amount of grip still through Gasworks. It's rearranged the order now with Kempson leading, Harry Chapman now up into second, Algar third, Hibbert fourth. And I think we're about to see on our virtual championship the advantage swing back in the advantage of Harry Chapman now, because now you've got one of those situations we talked about earlier with Ronnie Kempson. He can win this race and is on really good form this weekend, and it would be not a massive surprise if he did do so. But he needs Mason Hibbert up in second place, beating out Algar and Chapman in the championship stakes, because whoever finishes second behind Kempson in this order at the moment, whether it be Chapman or Algar, they will take the advantage and they will take the championship.
They certainly will. And right now, with that change, it certainly changes things dramatically further up the order. Kempson would lead the championship right now with 398 championship points from Chapman and Algar. Very, very close in this one, but again, they've just got to close back in on each other now. There is still 10 minutes to go in this race. There is still plenty of time, but they're just going to have to try and find a little bit of momentum here and there. What are they going to do as they go across the line once more?
Ignore what I've said, because the drop scores are now coming into play.
Yes, they are.
So, yeah, so Kempson would. That's actually quite simple in the way then for Ronnie Kempson. Goes out, wins the race, wins the championship.
Yeah.
Can get his head down now and focus on the job in hand. 9.5 minutes to go. Rain holding at the moment. It's not getting heavier, I would say. The wind has dropped as well. It's not as fierce as it was earlier on in the morning.
And it's certainly still a big shake-up here as it's getting very horrible out there in terms of conditions. I'm sure the rest of the grids out there are looking at this race and thinking, oh, that must be a little bit challenging for these drivers right now to see what they can do. And I mean, it's a big stepping stone, is winning a championship in Bambino, because it can certainly take you places. Riley Morrow last year, obviously winning the championship, stepping up into the world of the cadet racing and doing good as well. You know, it's really shown that he's gained some true momentum here. And for Kempson, this is certainly going to mean the same thing. Whether or not he steps up or continues in his fight here, it's going to be a challenge all the way to the end. Now, what's the gap? 0.8 of a second. Whoa, it's gone down to 0.3 of a second now. Chapman is closing in, and so is Hibbert. This championship fight is not over yet. Now, where is Henry Algar? There still. He needs to close in on this battle if he wants to try and win this championship. He needs to close that gap back up. He has been on perfect form all weekend. With doing the double in terms of the wins in the qualifying heats. He needs to keep that momentum now. But these drivers have been probably told, you need to now start to make sure he doesn't win. You know, you need to get the move done straight away. Don't wait around to the last lap. Get it done straight away. You're going to have to fight for 15 minutes for this one.
The good news for Algar as well is that there's still over half of that time remaining.
Yes.
There's a good amount of time here for this race to change, for the conditions to change as well. I've seen Henry Algar race in the wet earlier on this year. He's got the skills. He's got the skills if the rain really starts to come down here. At the moment, it's probably, would you even say it's stopped out there? What are the lap times doing? 1:16's last time around. They're about to complete lap number 6. Ronnie Kempson still holding at the front of this order. Harry Chapman there in second place, third for Mason Hibbert. We're into the second half of the race now. Are the lap times improving? They are improving. So I think the track is drying out there, and this is going to benefit Those drivers who are able to get on top of these conditions as quickly as possible. New fastest lap for Harry Chapman, 1 minute 14.9, and he's quicker.
Yeah.
He's quicker at this stage of the race, Anthony, and knows that he needs to get through to take the lead of this race and also be in pole position for that championship win.
Yeah, he's starting to position the kart on a different racing line now to Kempson to just try and maybe force a move here. If he sees the gap start to appear, I reckon he's going to try and push that kart right in that gap. But right now, he's just trying to assess the situation. Again, holding a tighter line on the exit there. You just think, it just looks like he's going to try and drive down the inside. At this moment in time, just thinking against any moves. Because again, whatever move you're going to do right now, you need to make sure it's crystal clean.
Yep.
You cannot afford to get a 5-second time penalty right now because it can cost a championship. Right now, you've just got to focus. If I'm going to go for a move, it has to be 100% on.
Yep.
If it's not, you've got to have to back out of it. But then, again, it's just that mental game of, yes, okay, I don't want to risk that, but I need to risk it to get the championship.
And it's where a greasy track surface really doesn't help
it doesn't
at that
help.
point, because it gets everything into that range of you're more likely to make a mistake. But the pace of these front two is good at the moment. In a way, what they are doing right now is they are, unfortunately for Henry Algar, dropping him out of the discussion, because we did say who of these drivers are going to be able to get on top of the conditions. Well, Kempson and Chapman quite clearly have. They're into the 112s. Everybody else is in the 114s or slower. They can just push off the front here and sort of treat this like a heat. Let's just take it to the last lap, chaps, and fight it out once there's a lap or two to go.
No, exactly that. And, you know, you can't take it away from Henry Algar. He's had a fantastic weekend. He has worked so hard to close that gap. He did exactly what he needed to do. He put himself right in that championship fight to try and win it. Unfortunately, it's just not gone his way in this final. These guys have really tried to push their way through, and they've done just that. And for Henry Algar, it's a valiant effort, and I feel like at the end of this race, he certainly needs to walk off this track with his head held high, because what a championship he's had. You know, what a fight he's had over the course of this year, and, you know, to come away with some decent results in the qualifying heats, you know, that's still an amazing achievement.
And he's very much proven to me and many others, I'm sure yourself included, Anthony, that he's ready for that step up.
Yeah.
He's learnt a lot in his time in the Bambinos, and he's in that position now where he can make to be a really good cadet racer. As down the inside goes Chapman, takes the lead of the race, at least momentarily. He's going to have to do a bit of work through the second part of the CNRS, and he has done. Change for the lead, but more importantly, a change in the championship stakes. If this lead holds, this will flip things round. Chapman will move to 399 points to my early calculations. 395 for Kempson, but Kempson switched it back. So cancel all of that. Kempson returns to the lead of the race, holds his position at the top of the standings at the moment, which would be a total of 398 points. Chapman stays there on 396 with 3.5 minutes to play.
Yep, this is still far from over, but Kempson now back in control of this one. Chapman will not be happy, though. He will want to go for that move once more, but where will he do it? We saw him do it through the CNRS's last time around. Kempson now knows that.
Yep.
He's played his cards, I think, a little too early here, has Chapman. He's given away where he's strong out on circuit. The same, though, can be said for Kempson. He's given away where he's strong on the circuit, which is at Gasworks. So again, both drivers know where they're weak and strong. This is really just a game of who's going to crack under pressure first.
This could be the best opportunity for Henry Algar. The gap at the moment is 5 seconds. He's got back ahead, yes, he has got back ahead of Mason Hibbert in that fight for third spot. If he can get his head down as the conditions continue to change. What is the pace looking like? Well, the top three are all in the 1 minute 12s. Mason Hibbert in the 1 minute 13s at the moment. I wouldn't count this as done yet for Henry Algar. It takes one mistake from these two drivers to close that gap back in. 2 minutes 20 remaining on the clock. Here comes Harry Chapman, though. Pulls out of the slipstream, running down to the first corner. New fastest lap, and now a new race leader. Great stuff from Harry Chapman. Retakes the lead of the race. Can Ronnie Kempson respond once again?
Yeah, that's a good spot to do it, isn't it? Through turn one, no real chance to really take back the spot in the early stages. But again, Chapman now needs to be very careful here because he knows where Kempson's strong. So that's where he needs to make sure he's got the defensive line going in towards Gasworks. But he's got to be very careful. Yeah. Again, if he goes too defensive, runs out wide, Kempson will just get it back on the exit now. So again, it's all just down to what happens here. It's just so close in the points. You just don't know who is going to come out on top on this one. It's purely a two-kart battle now all the way to the end of this race. I mean, still, you give it to Henry Algar, you give it to Mason Hibbett as well, you give it to William Wainwright, which is his first season in these karts as well for William Wainwright. He's been learning this track so hard. He's been getting quicker and quicker as the weekend's gone on. Now they cross the line. The points update. Chapman would lead the virtual championship. 399 points from Ronnie Kempson. Kempson would be second on 395. It is literally down to these two here. Who crosses the line first, and how close were they across the line the other day?
They were very close over the line the other day. It was nearly a photo finish. Also, just going to point out that Henry Algar has just found some pace. 1 minute 11.53. Wow. This isn't done yet. There's this lap plus one more to go, but if there's a fierce fight between these two at the front, that gap, that 4-second gap, if on pure pace it comes down to 3, maybe 2.5 on this lap, all hope is not lost for Henry Algar yet. There is your latest live championship. Points on your screens at home. 399 for Chapman, 395 for Kempton and Algar. Switch back there. Kempton's going to be side by side with Chapman. Chapman will have the inside line as they run through Horseshoe. That was well responded by Harry Chapman. There was a moment there where I thought Kempton was going to sweep through, but Chapman will hold on to the lead of the race. Last lap board on drivers left. Chapman has to white line it all the way down to drivers right, but how close is Henry Algar? 3.6 seconds now. Is there a switch back on for Kempton through turn one and into Brian's Bend? No. Harry Chapman is doing a brilliant job here, Anthony, to hold on to this lead.
He certainly is, but he's still got a long way to go through this lap to try and defend it. Remember, last year it was Riley Murray and Austin Oman who were battling away in these sort of very same situations, battling for the last final points of the championship. Now it falls down to Chapman and Kempson. Whoever wins at the end of this lap will be the 2023 British kart champion for Bambino, and right now it's going in the way of Chapman, but Kempson knows he's strong going into Gasworks here, and Chapman knows that as well. This is the final opportunity now. It is down to this, and look at that, just hugging that inside line, and Chapman runs a little bit wide. They go wheel to wheel once more now. Kempson's got to run this time. He's not going to give up that position too lightly as Chapman holds on to it as they go down. This is going to be a run to the line and a last-ditch look down the inside. They both spin. They both spin. Oh, my goodness, it's a championship fight to the end. Oh, and now Algar comes in. They're all there. It's 1, 2, 3. Who's it going to be? Chapman crosses the line first. Algar is furious as he couldn't get the move. Chapman crosses the line first. He celebrates. He is champion on our screen. But what is going to happen after that? I hope we've got a replay. I don't think we do, but I really hope we can see that again. What happened going into that final corner?
It just got very, very close indeed between Chapman and Kempson. But what would the view have been like for Henry Algar? We said he was in range. If there was going to be an incident between the two front runners, that Henry Algar might be able to go through down the inside between the two race leaders. That is the big question. Is the move on? It's definitely up for debate from our angle. And then I think Henry Algar gets the last corner, just doesn't expect the two karts to be there. And there's no way where for him to go, and it has that second moment with Harry Chapman, and that was it. That was the moment. If he was able to find a way and weave his way through those two drivers, that would have been the championship for now. And we stress this is provisional, that the virtual championship scores look like this. Harry Chapman 399, winner of that race provisionally. Second place for Ronnie Kempson. At the moment is being scored as having 395 points. Mason Hibbett found his way through all of that. Nearly won that race. A first return to the top three since Glanny Gores. And a good drive there from Mason Hibbert. Henry Algar, what must be going through his mind at the moment? 4th on the provisional classification. 3rd in the virtual championship scores at the moment on 394. William Wainwright, who's learnt a tremendous amount this weekend, finishes in 5th in the number 21. What drama in the Bambino final. And, well, we'll remain to see what the further news is from that one.
Well, what a final that was for Bambinos, all the way to the end, the final corner, but we've got our drivers from this one. It's Harry Mason on this one. What a race that was. What can you take away from it? How was it?
So, Ronnie Baby spin on the last corner, and then Henry Algar went flat out into me, and it really hurt my rib.
Right, okay, but the rest of the race, though, was okay. You were fighting all the way throughout, weren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. For Mason, from your point of view, how was the race as well? You had that battle happening in front of you. What were you thinking?
It was really nervous because I was 3rd and then Henry overtook me. But then I managed to, when Henry hit Harry, I managed to overtake and finish 3rd.
Yeah, it was a tough old race, wasn't it, at the end, but plenty of action and lots still to happen as well. You got the podiums coming up later on today. You looking forward to it?
Yes.
Excellent as well, but what a fight, what a way to end the season as well. You boys happy? Looking forward to next year as well?
Very.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Excellent, well done guys, congratulations, well done. Right then, ladies and gentlemen, apologies for the delay. We are going to be kick-starting in race order, but first of all, please can we invite all of the Bambino drivers who attended this weekend up to the front to collect a medal from Dan Parker over on the left-hand side. So a round of applause, please, for all of our participants in the Bambino category. Well done here at Warden Law. Very challenging conditions they've had to deal with. And then we will kick-start with the podium proceedings for Bambino to start us off with. So, in 3rd position, after a very challenging race and, well, only just 0.6 of a second behind at the end, please welcome onto the podium in 3rd place for Bambino, the number 77, Mason Hibbert. A brilliant result for Mason. He takes his trophy, he puts his hat on. There we go. Top lad, top lad. In second position and in second in the championship as well at the end of this one after finishing the race with 0.2 of a second. Please welcome the number 13, Ronnie Kempson. Well done, Ronnie, who takes his second place trophy and second in the championship as well. But finally, please welcome onto the podium your race winner and 2023 Bambino champion for the Wera Tours British Kart Championship, the number 32, Harry Chapman. He will receive his trophy, his hat, and then Dan Parker will come on to the podium to award the number 1 plate to Harry Chapman after a brilliant result. We'd also like to welcome, of course, because Harry couldn't do it by himself, his winning mechanic, Michael Chapman. Take a stand on that podium. I think you'll be a little taller than the drivers on that one.
Thank you.
But well done. A brilliant result for our Bambino winners. And, of course, the championship signed, sealed and done for Harry Chapman. A bright future ahead, I'm sure. A huge round of applause, please, for your top 3 in Bambino.
Cheers, mate.
Awesome.